Listening Library presents Star Darlings, Gemma and the Ultimate Standoff by Shayna Muldoon Zappa and Ahmet Zappa. Read for you by Kyla Garcia.
Prologue. "Quiet, please, everyone!" Gemma shouted. She was immediately gratified when the room fell silent, and 11 pairs of eyes, in varying shades of violet, rose, auburn, gold, green, and blue, looked up at her. Gemma wanted to make sure that all of the Star Darlings who were sitting on the floor of Tessa and Adora's dorm room were listening carefully. Leona tossed her golden curls and grinned at Gemma. "That's rich, coming from you," she said. But her smile was warm and kind, and Gemma grinned back at her. It's funny, those could have been fighting words not so long ago, Gemma thought. But the Star Darlings had been through so much since the school year began, and they had learned so much about each other's personalities, their strengths, quirks, and foibles. Gemma now understood that Leona was just attempting to lighten the mood, not trying to provoke her. She smiled as she took in Leona and Scarlet, roommates who had once been at each other's throats, even before receiving the floral arrangements of negativity, now sitting side by side, almost leaning against each other. They still both possessed strong personalities, that was for sure, but they were learning to work together instead of against each other, and maybe even becoming friends in the process. "Does everyone have a snack?" Gemma's older sister Tessa asked in a motherly tone. She was circling the room with a tray of pastries. Gemma knew that her sister had stayed up late the night before, making certain to prepare each Star Darling's favorite baked treat in her microzap. "I'll take a moonberry tart," called Cassie, her eyes glinting behind her star-shaped glasses. "It's all yours," said Tessa enthusiastically. She took a step forward. "Starf!" screeched Clover. "You're squashing my hand." "Oops, Star apologies," said Tessa. Without thinking, she let go of the tray of delicacies and sent it floating toward Cassie. "Hey, stop that," said Adora. "You know we need to conserve all the wish energy we can." Startled, Tessa dropped the tray, which landed with a clunk on Cassie's head. "Ouch," the tiny girl said, rubbing her head. Then she gave a cry of delight as she grabbed a pastry, oozing with moonberries, before it slid off the tray. She took a big bite. Her glofer, Itty, once a secret but now known to all the Star Darlings, zoomed over for a cuddle and a bite of the treat. Itty's song of contentment filled the air and visibly relaxed everyone. "Go ahead, Gemma," said Sage. Gemma pulled up a hollow letter. It was a group effort, composed by all the Star Darlings after much discussion. Now they were ready to hear it read back to them. They would make any last-minute changes they deemed necessary and then send it out to its intended recipient. "Dear Lady Stella," Gemma read, "we are writing to you because we have come to the terrible realization that we have made a mistake." Cassie raised an arm clad in a sheer silvery sleeve. "Can we get rid of terrible and add unfortunate?" she suggested. "I think it sounds a lot less judgy." Cassie's voice was clear, but her eyes were downcast. Gemma knew that Cassie was feeling very guilty about spearheading the suspicion against their former headmistress. Gemma looked over at Sage, who nodded. She started again. "We are writing to you because we have come to the unfortunate realization that we have made a mistake." Vega raised her hand. "Yes, Vega?" Gemma said patiently. "I don't think that's right," Vega said, her brow furrowed. "It's actually quite fortunate that we came to the realization that we made a mistake. Fortunate for all of us, including Lady Stella, actually. If we're going to change it, I think we should just say, the realization. Simple and effective. Libby spoke up. Why don't we call it a shocking realization? I mean, it certainly surprised all of us when we realized that Lady Stella was working with Sage's mom and that we were totally wrong about her. No, said Cassie, shaking her head emphatically. I meant that we should get rid of terrible and add unfortunate before mistake. The mistake was what was unfortunate, you see? The girls started to chatter among themselves. Gemma made a face. They were never going to get the letter out to Lady Stella if they were going to deliberate over every word. Then Astra stood up and gave a piercing whistle. That got everyone's attention. Itty's song came to an abrupt halt. Astra pointed to Gemma. Let's just let Gemma read it through. We can comment when she's done. Go on, Gemma, she said. Gemma cleared her throat and started over. Dear Lady Stella, we have come to the realization that we have made an unfortunate mistake. Gemma looked up. Cassie nodded, and everyone else seemed okay with the change, so she went on. We now know that you have been working with the noted wish energy scientist Indira to come up with a solution to the wish energy crisis, and are not causing it. We think we can help figure out who is the culprit. The same starling who sent us the poisonous flowers that caused us to argue and provided us with the nail polish that made us act odd, and who has been controlling our missions and ruining our wish pendants. Gemma made a point of not looking directly at Leona, who was actually the only star darling whose wish pendant had been ruined. She continued, There is one wish mission left to come. We have been hearing reports from our families and friends that the shortage is worse than we realized. We are worried that this is our last chance to collect enough wish energy to help reverse the crisis. Gemma's glow flared orange. It was her wish mission, and she was both thrilled and terrified at the prospect. Talk about pressure. Lady Cordial is trying her best, but it is clear that she is just not up to the job, and may even be in denial about the severity of the shortage. We need your help and guidance. Won't you please come back and be our leader once more? Starfully yours, the Star Darlings, Sage, Libby, Leona, Vega, Scarlet, Cassie, Piper, Astra, Tessa, Adora, Clover, and Gemma. She stopped reading and looked up. The group stared back at her silently, and the mood suddenly felt tense to Gemma. Itty must have sensed it too, because she gave a throaty purr and began to sing her song of relaxation. Despite her anxiety, Gemma found herself calming down a bit as the comforting tune filled the air. I think it's ready to go, Sage finally said. Is everyone in agreement? All the girls nodded, and Gemma pressed the send button. As everyone stared at her expectantly, she felt like a few words were in order. But Gemma's mind began to race. Lady Stella was missing. It was their fault. There was a terrible energy shortage and only one mission, hers, left. She opened her mouth to say something reassuring, but nothing came out. Well, that was a first. Chapter 1. Gemma narrowed her eyes and scrunched up her face at her StarZap screen, trying to use the sheer force of her will to make it chime and flash with an incoming message from Lady Stella. When she looked up, the rest of the Star Darlings were looking back at her oddly. Must be nerves, she thought. Everyone was on edge, waiting for the headmistress's response. Any starman now, Gemma said encouragingly, at last able to speak. Her words came back to her in a rush. Any starman now, I'm sure we'll be hearing from Lady Stella. Actually, she's probably holotyping like
Sample complete. Ready to continue?